Hello, welcome to day 23 of the Advanced Business English Idioms Challenge, part 2. Oh my goodness. Today we are looking at idioms related to problems, and it is so ironic because I started the broadcast and hit probably the biggest tech challenge I've ever come across, biggest problem, but a really daft one, a really, really silly one, in that my computer wasn't plugged in and it just shut itself down mid-broadcast when a few people were giving the thumbs up and about to tell me where they were watching from. So those of you who come back to the live, welcome back. Thank you for your goodness. Those of you watching on the replay, welcome back as well. It's never ideal when things don't run smoothly because I want you to have a good, positive experience. But the only positive about this is that it really is an opportunity to say, I do believe in done is better than perfect. And it is not perfect to have your computer crash in the middle of a live. But here I am, and I'm going to get it done. And yeah, anyway, thank you for coming back. Let's move on. So we're looking at problems, which is, like I said, very ironic. And these are the problems that the idioms related to problems that we are going to look at. So apologies to those of you who will see this again. If you were here a few months ago, I'm going to start from the beginning and just do a run through to where we were. So day 23, the idioms are a pain point, come to a head, the elephant in the room, get to the bottom of things, and grasping at straws. And for the second time, we're going to look at this extract where we will read all of the idioms in context. And we'll do that at the beginning, where it might not make much sense, especially if all of the idioms are new. Then we'll learn about the idioms, and then we'll read the same extract at the end, where hopefully it will make a lot more sense. Just a reminder that we wouldn't use all these idioms all at once when we're speaking. We want to use them just one at a time. But I want you to get a feel for the idioms. Okay, let's go for it. Macy stated that she felt they had been grasping at straws with their online strategy for years. John agreed, but felt like things were coming to a head at the moment because of the issues with the new sales page. It's just not converting, said Macy. So that means changing people from people who are looking at the page to being converted into customers. So it's not working as a sales page, said Macy. Maybe the elephant in the room is the copy being the actual words that are on the page, the sales copy. Can we hire an expert who really understands our customers' pain points? I don't think that's the issue, snapped John testily. And testily means grumpily. To be testy means to be annoyed or grumpy. Can you give us some time to get to the bottom of it ourselves first? Okay, so those are all the idioms in context. If that doesn't quite make sense, don't worry because we will come back to it. We just started looking at pain point, so let's jump back in there. And thank you again for those of you who are going to turn up live, maybe for the second time. And those of you that are watching on the replay, I really encourage you to join in the comments. Tell me where you're from and have a go at using the idioms and sentences if you feel like it. Okay, so 2 examples of pain points used in sentences. One of the pain points in my job is dealing with difficult clients. We need to understand our customers' pain points before we can create a sales page that speaks to them. So a pain point is a specific problem or issue that causes frustration or difficulty. So it's really not general. It's very specific. You know, it's a honing in. So that means really focusing in on like one particular problem. So problems in general, quite general, but a pain point is like a very specific issue. So it's a challenge, an obstacle, or a drawback. Here's a prompt for you. Describe a common pain point in your industry. A common pain point in my industry is the fear of making mistakes when speaking. That leads to a lack of confidence. A lot of people struggle with that when they are wanting to really use their English to its full potential. They fear making mistakes, which is why I love to show how easy it is to make mistakes and laugh about them and keep going anyway. And I think if I encourage people to do that with their speaking, then I have to live that myself as well. Of course, we want to be professional and put our best foot forward, but even in the most prepared of situations, you can still slip up, make a silly mistake, and we're all human. So it's a human thing to make mistakes, and yet I understand in presentations and public speaking, that is the biggest pain point in my industry at the advanced level. What about for you? What's the biggest pain point for many people in your industry or with the customers who you deal with? What would you say? Okay, let's look at come to a head. The long standing, that means it's been going on for a long time. It's been happening for a long time. The long standing conflict, and standing often collocates with conflict. So it means the war that's been going on for a long time or the argument that's been going on for a long time. Okay, the long-standing conflict between the two departments finally came to a head during the budget meeting. John was constantly late every day, which annoyed everyone, but things really came to a head when he was late for an important meeting. Okay, so come to a head means to reach a critical point where a situation must be addressed or resolved. So if we go back to this second example about John, he was late every day. It was a daily problem. It was always happening. But it reached a crisis point when he was late for a big meeting. So come to a head means basically reach a critical point or a crisis point. So culminate means come to the most important point, reach a climax or peak. Why is it important to address issues before they come to a head? So if issues or problems or tensions come to a head, it means they have reached the worst moment and they're out of control. So what would you say? Why is it important? Or even like how? How can you prevent things coming to a head? Okay, the elephant in the room. What do you think it means? Everyone avoided discussing the elephant in the room, which was the company's financial struggles. I know this is the elephant in the room, but I'm going to say it. The event hall we've booked is too small for the number of people registered for our event. Okay. It's quite a nice way to use it to say, I know this is the elephant in the room, but I'm going to say it. So the elephant in the room is a glaring means bright or shiny or obvious, a glaring or obvious problem or controversial issue that everyone is aware of but avoids talking about. So everybody can see the issue, everybody knows that's the issue, but they don't want to say that's the issue. So it's an unspoken issue, it's a taboo subject, it's an ignored problem. So in that example of the person saying the hall is too small, everybody knows that, but for whatever reason they're embarrassed and they don't want to say it. Maybe it's too stressful or too embarrassing, or they're worried about the fact that then they'll be the one that's complaining. But the elephant in the room is a big problem that everybody knows about, but they don't speak about because of embarrassment. So why do you think people sometimes avoid addressing the elephant in the room? Well, in my opinion, people avoid addressing the elephant in the room because of embarrassment, but there's many other reasons. It might be a cultural aspect of how you address problems. In some cultures, there is no elephant in the room. People just say what the big problem is. What do you feel for your culture? Why do people avoid addressing the elephant in the room, the big problem? Okay, get to the bottom of things. The detective was determined to get to the bottom of the mysterious disappearance. It's not like them to not pay their invoices. Let's investigate further to get to the bottom of it. Okay, so if you get to the bottom, you discover the underlying cause or truth of a situation or problem. You take away all the things that seem like problems but actually aren't, and you get to the truth. You kind of go down the levels to the truth. So you uncover or reveal or solve. So you can investigate to get to the bottom, or discover or uncover. Describe a character from a TV show or movie who managed to get to the bottom of things while investigating. So think about a movie that you've enjoyed recently, where somebody had to look into something. Could be a big investigation like a crime, or it could just be that they're working in a situation where they need to get to the truth. And see if you can either write it out as a sentence or speak aloud your answer to that. Let me know how you get on in the comments. I would love to know. And tell me where you're watching from. It's always better when people are here live. And I love hearing from people on the replay as well. Okay, grasping at straws. Let's do this one. With no leads to follow, the detective felt like he was grasping at straws in the investigation. A lead is an idea as to what to look for in an investigation. So he doesn't have, or she doesn't have any idea what to look for, and they feel like they're grasping at straws. Okay, the second one. The team was desperate and started grasping at straws to come up with a solution. And just to be clear, a straw, is a drinking implement, like you can see in the picture. So if you grasp at straws, it means you make a futile attempt at finding a solution when no real options are available. Futile means without result, so hopeless. So when you're grasping at straws, you're trying anything. It's like you have no idea what to do, so you'll just desperately try anything. Like, let's try this and this and this. And the ideas are desperate and random because you've got no idea what to do, so you're just trying lots of random desperate things. We can also talk about clutching at straws, searching desperately, or reaching for answers. If you're reaching for something, it's kind of out of your grasp a little bit. It's difficult. So reaching for answers would be perhaps a little bit more formal. So if you were writing, you might use some of these synonyms like reaching for answers, which are a little more formal. Why do people sometimes resort to, that means end up having to, why do they resort to grasping at straws instead of seeking more viable solutions? Okay, a viable solution is one that is the opposite of a desperate solution. It's actually how it's working. So why do they try desperate things instead of looking for more viable ones? Well, one possible reason people grasp at straws is, I think, maybe lack of outside help. That might be one reason that people don't have any support or mentorship to offer any other viable solutions, and so they just kind of desperately try all kinds of different things. Comments in the comment section, always so welcome. Hello. Thank you for joining us live. It's always a pleasure to see people. Thank you for joining in. You're very welcome, everyone who's here on the live or on the replay, especially if you were the original folks who were here before it crashed. Okay, we are back at the end of looking at the idioms. We've still got our little quiz to do after this, but let's look at the extract again, and hopefully it will make more sense because you'll have a better understanding of the idioms in context. Okay. Comment here, it's because they've run out of options. Yes, that's a good point. It's not perhaps, going back to this, it's not perhaps just that there's no mentorship. It might be that they have exhausted all their options. They've run out of options. That's a really good point. Absolutely. People grasp at straws when they've run out of options. Thank you for that. Okay, let's read through the extract. Macy stated that she felt they had been grasping at straws, so trying desperately, grasping at straws with their online strategy for years. John agreed, but felt like things were coming to a head, or they were getting to a crisis. They were coming to a head at the moment because of the issues with the new sales page. It's just not converting, said Macy. Maybe the elephant in the room, the biggest problem that no one wants to talk about. So maybe the biggest problem that no one wants to talk about is the copy. Can we hire an expert who really understands our customers' pain points? So our customers' deepest issue that really causes all the problems for them. I don't think that's the issue, snapped John testily. Can you give us some time to get to the bottom of it? So investigate ourselves first. So there's an issue with the sales page. It's not converting and they're arguing over it. If you want to read through that on your own, it will eventually be in the free course that will go along with this. Once the 30 days are up, I will be finalizing putting all that together. You can find it in my free resource library. Okay, let's do the quick quiz. I would love if you want to join in and see which one of these you would choose. So number 1, the unresolved issues with the software have become a significant something for the development team. Unresolved means not being fixed. It's an ongoing issue or long-standing issue. Okay, so a significant something for the development team. A significant A, pain point, B, elephant in the room, C, grasping at straws, or D, coming to a head. What do you think? What would you choose for number 1? And then number 2, I'm going to have to hide myself because I'm covering the words, so I'll do that just briefly. Number 2, we need to something and find out what caused the drop in sales last quarter. A, get to the bottom of things, or B, we need to grasp at straws, or C, address the elephant in the room, or D, come to a head. What would you say for each of those? What would be your answer for number 1, and what would be your answer for number 2 that would make sense in the context of those sentences? Okay. Yes. Oh, I clicked the forward button too quickly, but you got it. I see comments coming through of number 2A. Well done. Yes. So, sorry. Am I getting confused? I think I am. Number 1 and number 2 are both A, and oh, yeah. So let's talk about that. So number 1 and number 2, both A. So let's read it out and see how it makes sense. So number 1, the unresolved issues with the software have become a significant pain point for the development team. So they've become a significant issue that is really, really difficult for them. You could say that they've become a significant elephant in the room, but if you are acknowledging it as a problem, then it's not really an elephant in the room, because an elephant in the room is something that remains unacknowledged or unspoken about. And then number 2A, we need to get to the bottom of things and find out what caused the drop in sales last quarter. So yes, that would be the answer for number 2A. So well done. Okay, if you have any questions about everything that we have done, or any of the idioms, or how you use them or don't use them, please do drop those in the comment section. I would love to answer them. I'll always come back and have a look and answer. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you can join the next one. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.